Welcome back to another season of Courtside. I'm your host, John Brennan, with the head coach, Chris Talley. Coach, welcome back here to RCTV Studios here, and welcome also to the 2019-2020 basketball season here at Springford.
Yeah, thanks, Coach. Thanks for having me back for another year. I love what you've done with the place.
Looks great in here, doesn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
I guess the fitness center is not the only one that got some upgrades. Looks like some new mugs this year.
New mugs. We got some new paper. We got pens. Everything we need for every show here.
Andrew and the boys have been working hard.
So you guys have kicked off the season here. You had your opening season pack tournament. You guys won one, but we're not quite there yet. Let's talk about from last February, beginning of March, to where we got to this season. How was the summer? How was the workouts? Let's talk about that process with your team here, because that's always a major aspect of any high school basketball team is the off season.
Yeah, I don't think people understand anymore how much time the kids put into it in the off season. It's no longer, you come in November and you leave in February, and that's kind of it.
You play a summer league game once a week now. It's way more intense than that.
We start out with I guess they call it a summer league, but it's more of a spring league at Westchester. With that, there's weightlifting going on, open gyms, and then you come into the summer, you go to team camp, you go to some shootouts, you're lifting. The kids take some onus on themselves as well. We can't be in the gym every day with all 20 kids at once. So, they're doing their own thing, getting shots up, working on their ball handling. And then you come to the fall. We played in a fall league at Competitive Edge. Went to a couple shootouts, throughout the fall, and had some open gyms. And then before you know it, we're tipping off for CB South. So, with all that being said, you guys obviously have some major losses from last year's team. You lost 3 all-league, all-area type of guys for you, with Baker, Hagan, and Bobeck. Right.
But, hey, new guys got to step up. And you do have some guys returning from this team that was on the team last year. So talk about some guys we're going to see throughout the year, guys back for you, and obviously some new guys that you're going to see get some minutes for you too.
Yeah, you said 3 names that were huge to last year's season. Last year is over, but essentially Baker was a 3-year starter. People forget Hagan started the first 5 games his sophomore year, and Bobeck was a 2-year starter. So you have a lot of holes that you have to fill, and you have to fill them quickly because you're already penciling in 16 and 10 a night from Baker. And not too far behind that from Bobeck.
Yeah.
And then guard play, Hagan's handled that ball for 2.5 years. So there are some really important pieces that have to come in and step in, which, to your point, the cupboard isn't bare. And, and people ask me all the time, you guys got to be young this year. You lost Baker, Bobeck, and Hagan. And I never really looked at it that way because, you have Schlingo and Scrocky. That have played a lot of minutes, Kovaleski, and then Medeiros when he wasn't hurt. So it is a good mix, but it's not like it's a rebuild where we're bringing in 5 sophomores and throwing them out there.
And I'm sure one of the promising aspects of the thing was that first game. I'm sure they had a lot of apprehension on your part. We're going to be able to put the ball in the basket, some nerves or whatever. But in that first game, you came out, kind of guns blazing, ready to go. In that first game against CB South, and like I said, you got contributions from a lot of guys on that roster and that bench. So when you look at the box score wins, a lot of guys got some minutes for you.
Yeah, as a PIAA school, you're allotted 2 scrimmages.
Yeah.
And every year, I think, and I personally as a coach need to do a better job of this, is you're up and down with these scrimmages, and you play real well one scrimmage, and then you don't play so hot the next scrimmage, and then as a coach, you're trying to figure out who you are. Are we who we were versus
Team A, whatever. Yeah.
Team A. Let's not tip it there for the scouting purposes.
Yeah.
Or are we
the team that we played against, like Team B?
Yeah. So Friday night there was a lot of nerves from me. I don't know how the kids felt, but if they were nervous, they didn't show it because they came out from the tip and poured it on CB South, who's always a good District 1 team. It's not like, it's a cellar dweller, so to speak. So
they're going to get their wins throughout the season here this year. Yep.
They're going to play teams tough. They're in a tough league. They're very well coached. So I was proud of the boys coming out with that energy. And then sustaining it, because that's always the hard thing. You get up 13-0, and then you give up a couple quick threes, and then it's a dogfight. We were able to sustain that throughout.
And just go finish up with that CB South and the CB West, this opening tip-off. Boy, we've been doing this now at Springford for, I would say, almost double-digit years now. So there is some familiarity between our programs and what they're doing now. I know PV was new to the fold this year, but they're essentially almost like it's a league game for you every year, not counting towards the league, but you're playing them every year. You know what they do. You know how they're coached, and it's almost some familiarity because obviously, when you come back and you get – how many times you played CB West now in the past couple of years,
I feel like it's Groundhog's Day with CB West.
Yeah.
We always open the season with them, and then Coach Sherman and I were talking about it pregame. For whatever reason, we always find each other in the district playoffs, whether it's a district game or a playback game, or whether it's a game to go to the state tournament. It's our two schools just somehow find a way. Yeah. And that's a good thing, and that's a credit to his program.
So we didn't have the highlights from the CB South game, but we do have some highlights here from the CB West game. Now, the CB West game here is we're going to show you you're playing at PV.
Yeah.
You guys got down early, and it's a tough team to get down against here, against CB West.
Yeah, we're here in the home whites at PV, and there was Michael Fitzgerald hitting a three, but it's a road game and a neutral site in the afternoon. They had to pull some shades down because of the glare, so it's hard for the kids to have that natural rivalry. And like you said, you can't get down to CB West because then you're playing into their hands.
Looks like you just got a block there from Trey, then you got in a fast break.
Yep. In transition there, we got to work. I guess the highlight there was Medeiros' block because I'd like to see a score in transition.
But I like the idea of not going all the way to the rim, taking a little mid-range jumper. Might even been fouled there on the play too.
Yeah.
There's a 3-ball from the corner.
Yep, that's all started by the penetration and Schlingo knocking shots down, which was great to see.
Or you're trying to run your double, but you get the deflection.
Yep, and that's something Medeiros did all weekend. You could see, I don't know how many deflections he had offhand.
3-ball from the outside right there.
Yep, that was Nate Santiago, who had a total of 7 threes between the two games this week.
Like I said, new guy. Teams have to be ready for. Here you are with the pressure here.
Yep. And you could see again, it's Medeiros. When he's active and he's out at the top of our defense, it's tough sledding for teams out there.
And here's where it's almost like the idea of pressing. You're trying to get teams out of their tempo, out of what they want to do out there. 3-ball turns into the other way transition. Now it's a basketball game.
Yes, especially CB West because, like you said earlier, they want to come down, control the clock. They want to run their stuff, and which they do really well, and we have to not allow that against the CB Wests and Perk Valleys of the world.
So obviously you go into that, you want to go 2-0, you want to get off that start, but you did find a way to get that win. That's the worst case scenario. Sorry, not the guys down the road, but 0-2 is just worst case, because now you're right into the league schedule. You found a way to get that win, so there's obviously positive you took from that opening weekend.
Yeah, the schedule's never going to change. We're always going to challenge ourselves early and with our non-league games. But with that, it's nerve-wracking because you can schedule all of these tough non-league teams, but then you have to beat them. So for us to come out 1-1, we wanted 2-0, but we're happy the way we competed.
And you're a little bit limited this year in your non-league because now you're back to 16 games in the league you're playing. And you're going away on a trip next week to Florida playing, so you're going to get 3 games down there. So the opportunities if you get to play PIAA District 1 teams was limited for you this year, too.
Yeah, we travel every other year. So those years when we do travel, you have to be really, I don't want to say selective, but you have to schedule with a purpose because when you go away, you have no idea what you're getting. You could play 3 teams that are going to beat you by 30. You could play 3 teams that you beat by 30, but that all equates into the power rankings.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to budget for that.
So the only other non-league you're going to play throughout this year, besides the ones in Florida, you got Penridge in early part of January. Everything else is packed basketball all year long.
Yep.
All right, Coach. Well, good stuff right there. We got outlook for the season. We covered opening weekend. We got to take a quick commercial break here, all right?
There's a lot for segment one,
A lot of
Coach.
segment. I know, long segment right there. But we got to talk about who you got going on this week, all right?
Got it.
All right, make sure you stay tuned through the commercial break, and we'll preview this week's games for the Rams.
Hi, I'm Peter. And there's nothing I love more than sharing vegetables with my friends.
Come on in. Help yourself to anything.
That's why we give our food the utmost respect it deserves. Did you know there are simple steps we can all take to help save food? You can cook it, store it, even share it. Just don't waste it. Because when it comes to food, better ate than never. To learn more, visit SaveTheFood.com.
Sure, I look cute now, but when my owner lost his job, it was rough. I was living on the street, and one night, me and this Cocker Spaniel got into it so bad, I wound up looking like an ice cream cone. I cried a little bit, but thankfully I got rescued, so I'm running, I'm jumping, all back to my old self, and I'm ready to give unconditional love, even if you put a lampshade on my head.
Welcome back to Courtside. I'm your host, John Brown, with the head coach, Chris Talley. All right, Coach, here, big week for you guys here. Packed basketball tips off, and boy, a tough task for you guys here with the slot this week here. Tuesday, you're at Norristown. Thursday, we got a quadruple header here at Springford. Methacton's got some gym issues, but they're coming here. Guys and girls, should be a great thing. And then on Saturday, the other team from down the street, PJP, is going to make a trip up here to the gymnasium for an afternoon matinee action.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about Norristown a little bit here this week.
Right.
So Norristown, kind of like you, lost a lot. Young team trying to figure out who's going to be their guy this year. Talk about Norristown.
Yeah, when we talked about that opening weekend, it doesn't get any easier. And that's the danger with opening weekend is you have Norristown and Methacton always looming for those first league games. And so it's not going to get any easier, but that's what we want as well. Norristown is losing 5 seniors, 5 starters, I should say, with Reddish transferring to follow his brother. So you have 5 new faces in that starting lineup, but you can't let that fool you because it's Norristown.
Yeah.
And they have a proud tradition and a great coaching staff, so they're going to be ready to play. Personally, I think their best player last year was their 6th man in Nasir Kinney. And he's back and had a great offseason. So anytime you have a dominant player like that, they're going to be relevant.
And once again, they got their feet under them over the weekend a little bit. They got to see who they are and what type of basketball team they're going to be this year too.
They actually open with us.
Oh,
Coach.
really? This is their tip-off here tonight.
I was a little late to pregame, so I'll take that one for the viewers. Right. But they were at both of our games filming, so they're going to be prepared for us. They know what we do. They saw our personnel, and
I'm sure they're on their side saying, all right, well, how are you guys going to respond here on opening night?
Yeah.
But the best part about it is in their home gym.
Yeah,
tonight.
They open, so they're going to have the jitters, but at least they're home for those jitters.
All right, and then on Thursday, here we go. We got Methacton coming in the house.
Yep.
Returning PAC champions, just beat Malvern Prep over the weekend. A lot would argue a top 10 team in the state in 6A basketball here too.
Well, I think they're currently ranked 5th or 6th in the state.
Well, so I put them in top 10 right there.
So I think your thought process is
a lot like others?
A lot like most of the world out there, yeah. And again, a credit to Coach Durstein and his staff. They have a lot of key pieces returning this year, and they had a great offseason. He scheduled, if they don't have the toughest schedule in District 1, I would like to see who has it. I mean, they played Malvern. They played Roman Catholic on Saturday. I'm pretty sure they're playing Newman Goretti. It's, they are definitely challenging themselves to prepare for a championship.
For a run.
Yeah.
And obviously the big man in the middle, Woodward, returning PAC Area Player of the Year last year.
Right.
6'9", 6'10", going to Colgate. Just a matchup nightmare, not just for Springford, but for basically any team in District 1.
Yeah, he's 6'10" by all accounts. Talking to your old buddy, Coach Ford down there, he's a big viewer of the show. So He did confirm that Jeff made it to the 6'10" mark, and that's great for our league. It helps give our league some credibility, and I'm sure they're excited at Methacton, and for us, we got to find a way to beat them. We haven't beaten them in a few years.
And you wouldn't that supporting cast over there is pretty good too. I wouldn't call them supporters. I mean, Timko, Everly. They got some guys that can really play and were major contributors, cogs in all that stuff they did last year. Like you said, not just losing due to those guys are back. They're ready, rock and roll this year. Yeah,
they're primed and ready, and it'll be
I think it'll be a cool atmosphere here on Thursday night because, like you said, the girls team is pretty good over there at Methacton too. We could have some really good basketball here on Thursday night.
Yeah, there's not much going on. I think it's the best.
Yeah, I think it's a bad Thursday night football game this week for the for pros, whatever. Come on out here Thursday night to the action.
Regardless, the Eagles, they don't play, right?
No, you got to wait till next Sunday.
Yeah, so that's
a little tired this morning. I had to stay up and I was ready to give up on them last night.
I kind of did.
You did?
Full disclosure, yeah.
It's okay. So. Yeah, well, I kind of went to bed at halftime, but then I was like, all right, I'll watch, and they score, and now here we are the next morning and watch the Eagles.
Right.
All right, last game of the week for you. And this is typical, you guys. You're going to play 3 games a week, basically, from here till the end of January, essentially, too, right?
Yeah, you tell the kids that the 2 days in a row practices are few and far between at this point. It's practice game, and
that's the tough part because you want to do some game prep a little bit, but you obviously have things you want to work on as a coach, too.
Yeah, it's tough to be as prepared as you want for everybody because you got one practice and you can't look ahead. So it's not like we can prepare for Methacton, Monday and Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because you have Norristown Tuesday, and you can't overlook Norristown. There's teams in the area. You just can't do that. So.
And like you said here, that last team you're going to face this week is PJP from down the road. Got to win that opening weekend. Yeah. It's always a battle with the local rival from down the road a little bit.
Yeah, the 2 school student bodies get excited for that game. It's a cross-town affair, and this year it's at Springford, so we're looking to have a great crowd and play a pretty good basketball team that just beat Conestoga. So. That's a good win for them.
All right, Coach. Well, good stuff right there. We're off and running. Season, what is this, a Courtside here for us? 3, 4, something like that?
Thinking about that
4?
coming
We're getting it from the director.
Yeah.
4th season of Courtside here.
Yeah, I'm excited that we're here for 4 years. It's flown by, Coach, and you've done a great job.
I'm trying my best, I messed up with the Norristown thing today, but hopefully maybe how many people were really watching at that stage of the show too, you know what I mean?
I think that opening show is like our biggest viewership.
That's where we got to hook them in?
It's the middle shows we have to find a way to gain retention here.
And we're also going to see one of the biggest is that Cagers Club too. Once again, in case people still are watching the first time, talk about your Cagers Club and how they can support the team that way too.
Yeah, so the Cagers Club is our independent booster club specific to boys basketball, and from all accounts, you're a member of the Cagers.
Yep, absolutely,
Coach. It's open to alumni. It's open to anybody that wants to support Springford boys basketball. With that, you get some extra privileges like padded seats for the games. You get access to inside information, you know what I mean?
You come to the meetings, you hear a little inside scoop. Yep, absolutely.
Yep, you get an opportunity to listen to the Cagers board, and there's polo shirts out there that you can get, and it's a great organization that helps support us when we travel and team meals, and it just helps build community, and people past and present love just to be a part of it. And so if you're looking for it, information, email me, and we'll get you
rock and rolling. All right, sounds good, Coach. All right, so we'll be back next week for week 2. We got a show next week. When are you guys leaving for Florida? What day are you leaving?
Wednesday.
Oh, sorry. We'll do the show next week. All right.
Absolutely.
Homework report for you. You got to try and find some film of a team you're going to play in Florida between now and next week. You think you can get that done?
We already have, yes.
You got it?
It's already, yes.
All right, so we want to see in our preview next week a team in Florida we're going to play.
As long as the schedule doesn't change. It's changed 4 times already, but
All right.
the current team
So you're
we're
getting
playing,
inside scoop here. The
Yeah.
current team we have
film on. Yes.
All right, Coach. Well, best of luck to you and the crew this week. All right.
Thanks, Coach.
Make sure you tune in next week as we recap the games with PJP, Methacton, and Norristown. For the head coach, Chris Talley, I'm John Brennan. See you next time, Courtside.